Richard, look, by me making accusations right now, whatever I say, the other people will deny it. The best is the president of our country has sent that cipher, the record of the conversation between our ambassador and Donald Lu. He sent it to the Chief Justice of Pakistan to hold an open inquiry. So the best way, we'll find out what actually happened if this inquiry is held. So, rather than blaming other people, let the inquiry come out with the results.
But you seem very hesitant to criticize the military, to criticize General Bajwa. I mean, would you have concerns for your safety? Are you worried about criticizing the military publicly?
I'm not worried about my safety, but the problem is that we live in a very rough neighborhood. We need a strong army. Just look around in the neighborhood we live. What is going on in the world? I mean, Syria, Libya, Afghanistan, Iraq, Yemen. So Pakistan needs a strong army, and so I would not want to do anything to undermine the strength of our army or to blame our army. What if individuals are involved? Well, let the inquiry find out. This is the best way. The Chief Justice of Pakistan can hold an open inquiry. We'll find out who were the players involved in this conspiracy.
But don't you
we
think,
feel
Mr.
it was a conspiracy, and let's see.
But isn't this really the root of Pakistan's problems? Is the military stranglehold over real power? And that this is what has been holding the military back, Pakistan back. I mean, you say that Pakistan needs a strong military, but you don't need an all-encompassing, totally powerful military that is able to pick up and drop democratic leaders as they see fit. Don't you see that is Pakistan's biggest core problem?
Well, Richard, look, Pakistan was a security state. Why it became a security state? Because the moment Pakistan was formed in we got our independence in 1947. 48, there was a small war with India. And so the fear in Pakistan that a 7 times bigger sized neighbor, and we started on the wrong foot with them, that's why we became dependent on our military. And so the military obviously got prominence. So therefore, whenever the democratic 3 times, well, let me just say 62 years, past 62 years, half the time we have been ruled by military, and half the time we have been ruled by these 2 families, the Bhuttos and the Sharifs. So, unfortunately, when you have military intervention, and when the democratic government comes after that, it takes time to evolve the democratic culture. And so it also, that balance between the military and the democratic government, I think the country is moving towards a stage where we will find that balance between a security state and a democratic state. And I feel we are moving in that direction. I feel if you have free and fair elections in Pakistan, we will move into that direction where we'll have that balance.
Mr. Hunt, I would like to close with the question about exactly that. You've made it clear you want to try to get back into power. You want to battle another election. Will you commit here to accept the result, whichever way it goes? Or are you concerned that it might be rigged against you?
Look, as it stands today, Richard, I'm afraid we have no confidence in the Election Commission, because it is totally biased. It is, so far its record has been terrible. But for the future of Pakistan lies in a truly democratic system. And democracy means you have to have free and fair elections. If you do not have free and fair elections, when people don't accept the result after that, that's when the acrimony starts. So, when in 2013, when the election results came, all the parties in the opposition, 22 opposition parties, refused to accept the result. And we know the election was rigged. So there was this whole movement to, against this rigging. And we ended up in a judicial commission. again, now this time, we are moving, I think we are moving towards elections. All we want is that there should be free and fair elections. And that is the beginning of a democratic process moving forward. Because we have now had almost 14 years of democracy, because we had 8 years of General Musharraf's dictatorship. Now there are 14 years of democracy, and we are moving forward. I feel that the country has moved forward. I think the days of martial law are over. And all we need, as I repeat, free and fair elections.
We have time for one more very final question, Mr. Khan. Obviously, a major issue for you in Pakistan's backyard is Afghanistan. We've seen what is happening with the Taliban there. They're backtracking on commitments on human rights, on girls' education, and many other issues. Humanitarian crisis really taking place there, security crisis too. Do you regret your sort of supportive position towards the Taliban? Do you still believe that the world should recognize the Taliban? And if so, if you do believe that, why should the world recognize the Taliban, given what we're seeing, the reality there now?
Well, firstly, Richard, the only people I support are the people of Afghanistan. And when I spoke about that there's no military solution in Afghanistan, it was knowing the history of Afghanistan that eventually, like the Russians, or the Soviets, before that the British, whenever outsiders have tried to impose a military solution, it hasn't worked in Afghanistan. They're very independent-minded people. Now, immediately when you ever talk about, that there was no military solution, people like me were dubbed as being pro-Taliban. We are pro-Afghanistan. And at the moment, people in Afghanistan have peace after 40 years. Now, in my opinion, you cannot impose human rights from outside, and especially to independent-minded people like Afghanistan. I feel that the people of Afghanistan, the government of Afghanistan must be engaged. And the more you mainstream the government, the more international community engages that, more chances of them sort of finding this equilibrium which from the conservatives and talking about human rights. I feel that the more you engage them, the more people of Afghanistan will assert their own rights. Because people of Afghanistan are strong, women are strong. Give them time, I think they will assert their rights. But I think by isolating Afghanistan, there's one danger which especially people of Pakistan are worried about, that if you isolate them and if there's chaos in Afghanistan, there's a chance of terrorism, international terrorism, again, finding roots in Afghanistan. And Pakistan already suffers from attacks from what is the TTP, the Pakistani Taliban, who attack Pakistan from Afghanistan soil. So therefore, in our interest, the more stable a government